All right, today we are diving deep into this idea of the hidden engine that drives your daily life. We're talking about your identity and how it really dictates almost every reaction you have to stress, to setbacks, to, well, everything.
You totally know this feeling, right? You wake up, you feel pretty good, maybe you've had your coffee, you're centered, maybe even peaceful. And then, bam, one critical email from your boss, an unexpected bill pops up, some frustrating comment online, and just like that, all that peace is gone. It's replaced by this wave of stress or defensiveness or anxiety. How does that happen so fast?
Well, what if the problem isn't actually the email? What if the real issue is the part of your identity that the email just threatened? See, if criticism shakes you right down to your core, or a failure feels absolutely devastating, that's a huge sign that your reactions are tangled up with what you believe about who you are.
And this gets us to a really crucial point. Most of us, we try to manage our behavior. We try to be less angry or less anxious. But the thinking here suggests we're fixing the wrong thing entirely. It's like we're just treating the symptoms, the anger, the anxiety, but we're not getting to the actual cause. The real engine driving our lives, it's our identity.
Now this is fascinating. This slide really lays out the two competing scripts for how life works. The cultural script, the one we see everywhere, tells us if you behave the right way, if you succeed, if you achieve, if people like you, then you will finally earn a valuable identity. But this other perspective, it flips that completely on its head. It says you start with a secure identity, and from that place, your identity then shapes your behavior. One is all about earning your value, the other is about living from a value you've already received. And this ancient proverb backs this up. Now, the word for thinketh here isn't just about a passing thought. In the original Hebrew, it means something more like to calculate or to estimate. And the heart, well, that's the core of your being, your mind, your will, your emotions. So what this is really saying is, whatever you have deeply, fundamentally calculated your own worth to be, that is what you will become.
And here is the perfect metaphor for all of this. We spend so much time and energy trying to fix the fruit in our lives, our anger, our anxiety, our impatience. But you can't get different fruit by just focusing on the fruit. You have to deal with the root system. If you really want to change your reactions, you've got to go deeper and address your foundational identity.
Okay, so if our identity isn't securely rooted in something solid, where does it go? Well, it latches onto substitutes. You can call these false identities, or, to use this really powerful metaphor from the Bible, broken cisterns.
So back then, a cistern was this big container carved out of rock, designed to hold life-giving rainwater. A broken one, well, it looks like it should work. It looks like a cistern, but it can't actually hold water. It's got cracks, it constantly leaks, leaving you thirsty and forcing you to work endlessly just to try and refill it. False identities are just like that. They promise to make you feel full, but they always leave you feeling empty.
So let's look at 5 of the most common broken cisterns. For the performance identity, failure isn't just something that happens, it's a final verdict on your worth. With approval, criticism feels like a dagger. If control is your go-to, then any kind of uncertainty sends you into a spiral of anxiety. Comparison? Well, that just turns every single interaction into a secret competition. And with usefulness, the thought of not being needed can trigger a full-blown identity crisis. Just take a second. Do any of those sound a little too familiar?
You know, the prophet Jeremiah frames this as a huge tragedy. The problem isn't just that people chose a system that doesn't work. It's that they walked away from a perfect, never-ending source, a fountain of living water, for something that was guaranteed to fail them. Every false identity is a bad trade.
So if all those other identities are broken and leaky, what's the alternative? This is where we pivot to this idea of an identity that you don't earn, you don't create, you simply receive it. It's a foundation that can't be cracked by failure or criticism or whatever life throws at you.
That phrase, "in Christ," is absolutely key. It shows up over 160 times in the New Testament. And it doesn't just mean trying to act like Christ. It means your very identity has been completely relocated. Think of it like getting a new citizenship. Suddenly, your rights and your status are not defined by your old country anymore, but by your new one. It's not a renovation project. It's a whole new creation.
And this verse just drives home how secure that new identity is. It says it was settled before you ever had your first success or your first failure. And that word adoption, especially in Roman culture, was a huge deal. When a child was adopted, all their old debts were legally canceled and they received full, permanent inheritance rights, the same as a natural-born child. It couldn't be undone.
And this adoption changes absolutely everything about how you relate to God. It's the difference between fear and intimacy. The word Abba is an Aramaic term of deep personal affection. It's like dad or papa. You see the shift? It's from the fearful cowering of a slave trying to perform perfectly to the secure, confident cry of a beloved child.
This is a statement of permanent, layered security. I mean, just think about the structure of that phrase. Your life is hidden in Christ, and Christ himself is in God. It means that nothing can get to your core worth, your real you, without having to go through both of them first. Criticism, failure, bad news, they just can't penetrate that deep.
And this all comes together in what is maybe the ultimate personal mission statement for this new identity. The old I, the one who lived on that hamster wheel of performance and approval, that I is gone. The new I is alive, but its whole operating system is now Christ. And it's all grounded, it's all powered by that final, deeply personal phrase, who loved me and gave himself for me.
Okay, so that's the big core idea. But how does this actually play out in the real world, like on a Monday morning? Well, it turns out this isn't just ancient theology. Modern psychology has actually stumbled onto the very same principle. There's this fascinating study with kids and puzzles that shows just how powerful this is.
So, researchers give a bunch of elementary school kids some puzzles. After the first round, they praise one group for being smart. See how they tied their identity directly to their performance? But they praise the second group for working hard, tying their identity to their character and their effort. Okay, so then for the next round, they gave both groups a much harder set of puzzles. Puzzles that were specifically designed to make them struggle. So, what do you think happened?
The result was just stunning. The kids who were told they were smart, they got discouraged and they quit. Why? Because struggling threatened their entire identity. I mean, if they were so smart, they shouldn't have to struggle, right? But the kids who were praised for working hard, they kept going. For them, failure wasn't a verdict on who they were. It was just part of the process. Their identity was totally secure.
So how do we actually put this to work in our own lives? Well, the framework suggests a pretty simple three-step process. First, you have to name it. Be honest and specific about the false identity you tend to rely on. Second, don't just get rid of the lie. You have to replace it with a specific truth. And third, you rehearse it. You settle who you are before the pressures of Monday morning arrive, not in the middle of the crisis. And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. What if you just stopped trying to earn and prove and protect your worth every single day? What if you could walk into your Monday morning truly believing, deep down, that your value is already and completely settled? How would that change everything?